Well, howdy. Good to be back again for another day, night, wherever you are, catching up. Yeah, thanks for jumping on the stream again. I'm David, Minimum Viable Pizza. It's good to have you all here again. Keep this marketing ship running, keep this marketing ship afloat. We're live on YouTube at this point, and we're also live on Twitch for the first time as well. So if anybody's coming in from Twitch, be sure to jump in the chat, say hello. If you're on YouTube, be sure to jump in the chat, say hello. Love to know who you are, where you're from, what's happening today. Anyway, I'm probably here for about an hour this time around. A little bit of a shorter stream. Got to dash out for a few things, but got a bit coming up. I'm gonna get into, what do we call it? What's this called? We've got an article we're gonna get through tonight called 7 Ways to Get Better Results for an AI Image Generators. I'm really curious to see what's in this article because I probably have my views on how AI image generators work, but I'm also no pro, so it'd be really good for all of us to get in this together. And got to build a bit more of the old Braze text adventure. I've had a few ideas since we started last week. So for those who don't know, Braze is like a marketing automation platform, and last week started trying to build a text adventure game in there through email. Got off to a good start, was pretty good. But I've just had some ideas during the week. I'm wondering whether I can just make it a bit more advanced. I'm actually really keen to put like a health system in there and some sort of fighting system, even though it's on email, and actually do that for people so they're inside an actual game, like fully gamify the email flow. I mean, you could easily do this with like a pop-up or something, you know, with code, but doing it in email is a little more complicated because it's one at a time and you kind of have to make that work. So I'm kind of keen to make that happen. So, didn't turn my chat on. All right. For anyone who's there, tried some new music this week. Let me know how it goes. Tell me if you can hear it or you can't hear it. Just been testing that out as well. But yeah, so Twitch and YouTube. So we're growing. We're growing. It's exciting. It's good to get some marketing back onto the live stream because this is the place to be. So the other thing, like, I was having a bit of a thought this week. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm someone who likes to keep things, well, I mean, some people, it's, you know, my wife said complicated, but some people would say, but I like to have things a bit simpler. Like I like to have some routines in the morning. I tend to eat the same thing when I get up. I'm one of those people because it's less decisions I have to make in the day, or there's, you know, I sometimes think people overinflate things, like, you know, just put too many processes in place just because it looks like a better way to build something. I mean, marketing and martech, you know, the field that I work in, like sometimes, I mean, it's debatable, but sometimes people have like big tech stacks of stuff and you're like, you know what? If you had 2 or 3 things and you just use them really well, you'd probably have a better result than having your 20 things you're paying for here. So often simplifying things in life, I actually think is a good way to go, you know, just have one good, whatever it is, you know, Mike, I've got a guitar right here, right next to me. Well, it's pointing that way, but it should be this way. One good, hey Poppy, welcome to the chat. You can have one good guitar. I was even thinking today, like, I rode a single speed bike, so it's a bike that doesn't have any gears. Well, it has one gear, because I like the simplicity of it, and it's just easy to repair. I have hydraulic brakes, and even today I'm like, man, maybe I'll go back to cable brakes. The cable brakes are like old, they're probably from the 90s, but they just work. You know what I mean? Simplicity. Anyway, just thought for the day. Think about a bit of simplicity, but for anyone who's joined us, we're on Twitch and YouTube tonight, so just check out the Twitch feeds going. Still alive and well. It keeps telling me it's unstable, but it seems to be there, so yeah, if anybody's watching that, let me know. All right, so something I wanted to go through tonight. You know, we always like to hit up an article where we can. I'll pop this over on the, oh no, my Stream Deck cover's fallen off, guys. All right, we'll work on that later. So I always try and find an interesting article that's kicking around during the week that we can go through together. And I don't read them before I go through them, by the way. I just like kind of have a quick scan of the title and, you know, maybe the first line or whatever. Go, you know, this is pretty interesting. I've noticed the last couple of weeks when people have been jumping on here, there's been quite a bit of interest in AI. And I mean, it's probably not just people on here, it's just people in general, and questions around AI. So I thought we'll keep that theme running. And this was 7 ways to get better results from AI image generators. And I thought this could be a really interesting one to go through because I personally don't know all the tricks. I feel like I have some level of skill with it. I used to work at a company that was all about AI, that was Microsoft. But yeah, I'm sure there's things we can learn, and I'm not saying this is going to be the best article ever, but Rob Glover published this on the 29th of July, so this is pretty current, if nothing else. So if you like Rob Glover's work, this is on the WordStream local IQ blog. I don't even know what this program is. I probably should look into that later, but it doesn't matter. So 7 ways to get better results from AI image generators. We'll crash through this together and see if there's anything interesting in here we can find, hey? So, all right. So have you used AI image generators yet? I mean, that's a great question. Have you used AI image generators yet? I mean, personally, I've used quite a few, to be honest. I actually don't use them as much as probably a lot of people would. I don't love the output. I still think even the really good ones, you can tell. I mean, we had a discussion a couple of weeks ago about the AI influencer model who was at Wimbledon, but if you look really closely, she has 2 knees on one leg. So, I mean, she may really have 2 knees. I don't really know. I played about with a few of them and find them both incredible and incredibly frustrating. Good call. The first version I get is like 95% correct. Then I ask for a little tweak and it throws the whole thing out of whack. It's very fair. I know people have had success with these platforms and I wanted to know how, so I asked several content design and marketing pros how they use AI to get quality images. Well, this sounds a good start. They shared a bunch of really good beginner tips, that's good for all of us, that'll help with AI design newbies and some advanced tactics for people who've tinkered with these tools a lot already. Let me know in the chat if this is something you've tinkered with before or not. So they opened my eyes to several AI tools I'd never heard of, and even one website that's a collection of hundreds of open source AI models you can use. I reckon that'll be Hugging Face. I'm just taking a guess now because I like to guess things before they happen. I've documented all their tips, processes, and platforms so you can try them too. All right, cool. So here's the key tips. Use style codes in Mid-Journey for consistency. No idea what that means. Brainstorm image ideas first. Treat AI image generators like a sketchbook, not a shortcut. I think that's actually a great call for AI in general. We need to stop treating it like it's some magic pill that's going to solve all our problems. It's actually sort of it helps us get to where we're going. It's not necessarily just going to give us the answers. And this is why you shouldn't use it, kids, to do your exams, because it could be completely wrong, or at least off track. Use AI to prompt AI. Nice. Try multiple AI platforms. Use AI to explore ideas. Build custom gems in Gemini Pro. It doesn't specifically have to be Gemini, but I'm sure they all do a bit like that. This use AI to prompt AI is a really interesting one because, if we set that up properly, we could just stop doing anything. Just let them chat. The AIs could just have a little chatty chat to each other. Get some images. When they're done with their little chatty chat, they could just send us the images and we could all call it a day, I reckon. So that would be kind of cool. All right. Use style codes for consistency. I've noticed a weird dichotomy, blah, 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 blah. It feels like the output is random. Keeps around, blah, blah, blah. I use Midjourney to create images for my blog and Substack. In Midjourney, I use style codes, which are numeric codes that can be used in the prompt to control the output. Gee, I've never heard of this before. This is cool. The style codes and a reference are officially called style reference, SREF. So that's probably the term you'll hear. Codes. They let you add a predefined visual style to your work. This is a good SF. There's a link. So instead of always uploading an image or linking to an external file to train the AI, you just add an SREF code to your image prompt. There are thousands of style codes available, so I perused examples until I found one I liked. By using a style code, my images have a consistent aesthetic without writing elaborate prompt instructions. Okay, so she's doing this in Midjourney, which is a AI image generator. So this is obviously, is this just in? Yeah, I use Midjourney. Yeah, so I don't know if you can use this anywhere, but if this is something you can definitely do in Midjourney, this is really good because she's probably got like you can see here, all her images have kind of a style and a theme. So the style codes actually help. That's actually really cool because then you don't constantly have to write, I want a photo image in the style of cartoon, blah, blah, blah. You actually get a specific output. I mean, the risk is that someone else is using the same style code, but the risk is probably pretty low. You know, the internet's a big place. Other AI image generators offer some type of repeatable codes, but there isn't a consistent rule or nomenclature, so you can't use them between platforms. So check with your tool of choice and see what's available. That's really cool. I actually really like that one, using style codes. I'm going to remember that. Might actually try that out later. Anyone who's in the chat, by the way, can you tell me if the music levels are right or not loud enough? I'd really like to know. Because I have a couple of questions about that. All right, so brainstorm image ideas first. I mean, that kind of makes sense. So this is Jeff Mankin, healthcare and SEO consultant, uses good old ChatGPT to create fun images that liven up his LinkedIn posts. I feel like I've actually seen this guy on LinkedIn now that I speak. I'm a bit of a LinkedIn guy myself, so... blah, 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 consistently created thing. I start by giving ChatGPT the post as text, he explained. Then, so it actually gives it the post that he's writing. Then I ask it to brainstorm possible images to accompany the list. Then he gives it the opportunity to select the best and relevant instead of relying on its best guess. This gives you the opportunity to select the best and most relevant instead of relying on its guess. Then I tell it which image sounds best and ask it to generate that image. It's kind of cool. So before Jeff asks for an actual image, he asks the AI to suggest some options. It's sort of like riffing ideas with an art director before they go off in a draft to creative. He also says that how you prompt it matters a lot. I often ask it to include me, Jeff, the healthcare SEO Meekin, and describe myself: male, mid-40s, Caucasian beard, quite slim build, blue shirt. Being specific really helps a lot. Actually, I did find this too once. I was trying to get pixel art out of it of myself, and you kind of had to specify the color of clothes, color of your pants, color of your hair, length of hair, these sorts of things, and you actually got a much better image, even though I was only dealing with pixel art, which is not even that high fidelity. We'll often add more detail like Do it in the style of a kid's animated 3D movie. He says not only does it make it fun, but it also reduces the importance of imperfections. That's actually really smart, because then you're getting images out where if it's not quite perfect, it's harder for people to tell. Whereas if you're seeking perfection like a photorealistic human, like people are more likely to notice when there's imperfections with that. It's smart. Speaking of imperfections, Jeff said you can't assume the AI will always get everything right. I always check any text in the images for spelling and grammar. Smart. He noted you can select it or edit it and ask it to remove it, which is often easier than regenerating it from scratch. I would completely agree, because sometimes when you regenerate it from scratch, then it just goes completely off tilt and just does something else anyway. Jeff gave me one more tip on setting a style for your images. I found that if you ask for a specific style, it may refuse on copyright grounds. I feel like Jeff's tips coming up is how to get around copyright. For example, create an image in the style of Star Wars. However, if you ask it to describe the visual aesthetic of Star Wars and use this in your prompt instead, you can circumvent plagiarism issues. So he's working off visual aesthetics rather than getting to use Star Wars specifically. I will say though, and this comes with the disclaimer of I'm not encouraging anyone to do this, but some of the AIs such as Grok, which is a very publicly available one that's through Elon Musk or the Twitter one, it doesn't really have these boundaries. You can get quite a bit of this sort of stuff out of there without too many issues. But again, I'm not encouraging any of that. I don't approve of anyone doing plagiarism, but there you go. If you're looking for a model, I'm sure there's heaps of other models that are a bit more open than that again, but there you go. Treat AI image generators as a sketchbook, not a shortcut. All right, now I'm starting to see how we mere mortals can use AI for some fun. Yep, blah, blah, blah. AI artist creative director at FreePic, a good website, gave me a peek into her process for creating stunning graphics and photorealistic images, and her most important point is to reframe how you think about AI tools. Interesting. As a photographer and artist, I try not to treat AI just as a shortcut, but also as a visual sketchbook. Oh, so she's an AI artist. This is cool. Here I can test poetic or surreal ideas that might otherwise be too expensive or physically impossible to produce. Well, that's very true. I mean, there is cases where AI art might actually be the best alternative when cost and those sorts of things are an issue. I'm 100% for pure art and creativity and paying people just to get that really clear as a creator myself. But there would be cases where this made it easier, well, not easier, but cheaper to do, because you physically just can't do that, or it's just inherently expensive to do that sort of work. So I do think there's some merit to that. Here are Melissa's tips and tricks to get cleaner, more creative images. Start from a clear emotional or visual sensation. Don't just give AI a subject. My best images don't come from saying portrait of a woman. They come from ideas like surreal creative image/portrait. It's cool. Describe materiality and atmosphere. I always include textures like silk, cracked glass, fogs, light quality, soft cinematic backlight, chiaroscuro. I don't know if anyone knows. If you know what that is in the chat, see if you can beat me to putting it up here, eh? Chiaroscuro, the treatment of light and shade in the drawing of a painting. Well, there you go. I probably botched the way that's said. Oh, you guys can't even see. It's over here. Chiaroscuro. You're welcome. All right. No, we don't need the zombie. We don't need Braze. Don't need the zombie adventure. Got back over here. Get rid of that stupid Google ad. No, we'll put it back. All right. Use the structure and contrast inside the prompt. For example, a surreal portrait of a young model surrounded by floating feathers and ceramic fragments, soft skin tone, calm expression, pale background, fashion editorial lighting in the style of poetic surrealism. That was a lot. Honestly, that's a lot. I mean, this is really good advice, but I'm not sure I would even be able to sit there and think that. But you know what you do? You would cut and paste this, and you would slap it into your AI prompt, and you wouldn't use it, but you'd go, okay, portrait of a young, and in here you'd put in whatever you wanted, or change this to old. Instead of floating feathers and ceramic fragments, you might put floating bricks and ceramic and brick fragments, soft brick tone, brick expression. Iterate through subtle changes. Once I get an image close to what I want, I regenerate with 1 or 2 adjustments, like replacing white feathers with burnt paper, to see how far the composition can stretch emotionally without losing coherence. White feathers with burnt paper. Oh, so she's replacing these words with other. She's using very emotive and creative kind of words to get things out of this, which I can see then how she could be an AI artist, because she's kind of getting it to think sort of right outside the boundary of, you know, if it's working off mathematics, which I genuinely think it's just basically all maths and algorithms at this point. She's forcing it to think broader than where the statistical average, for instance, would be in that. So this is pretty clever. Like, this is worth trying. Like, using these sort of surreal, ethereal, is that the term, words to try and get some images out of there that are a bit more interesting than what you normally see. I'm just going to get rid of this tab. It's kind of in the way. All right, you like that too? Sometimes I have tab there I'm not using anymore. I just really need to get rid of it. All right. So I can choose certain models that work better for other projects. For example, if I'm working with static images, I prefer Seedream. Never heard of Seedream. All right. If we're talking about video, I usually go with VO3, or VO3 as some people call it. That's the Google video one you often see. It's about 4 seconds of really realistic video, but if you put lots of them together, lots of 4-second clips, you can make these really cool clips, long movies. If I want something fast and raw, I run some tests with other models, but these give me better balance between coherence and emotional atmosphere. If you're ready to take your masterpiece to the next level, Melissa offered a few advanced steps she uses to reduce errors and improve output. Work in series. Instead of refining one image endlessly, she builds a collection of 4 to 6 variations and analyzes them as if she was curating a visual exhibition. This is cool. Focus on gesture and composition first. That's before tweaking style details. If the posture and framing don't work, no texture will fix it. I mean, that's like probably all great things in life, isn't it? I mean, margarita pizzas, like if the base doesn't taste any good, there's no point putting sauce on it. If the sauce isn't any good, you shouldn't put any cheese on it. And beyond that, like if it doesn't taste any good with sauce and cheese on the base, I mean, you sure as heck shouldn't be putting any toppings on at that point, should you? You should be going back and looking at the gesture and composition first of your pizza. You know I'm right. Use style, composition, light, and color modifiers. This lets her guide the model without over-controlling it or having to change the prompt so much. I mean, they were good tips. I found some of them a bit complicated because I'm not that art-minded, but for someone who's art-minded, like using these sort of more surreal words, it's actually a really cool approach to doing this. So, the hardest part about teasing a usable image out of AI generator is writing the perfect prompt. So this guy has a handy little trick. She gets AI to write the prompts for the AI art generator. I've been using Leap AI for image generation. I actually get prompts from ChatGPT and keep refining them, she said. For example, when I was working on social media image, I get AI to prompt for all the details possible, like colors, background, core elements, and supporting ones. She prefers Leap AI over Microsoft's Designer for this process because it can work with less refined prompts. So she's picking a tool that can work with prompts that aren't as detailed and structured to get images out. So she's chosen her tools based on that. But Leap AI isn't cutting it. She keeps, but if it's not cutting it, she looks for other tools on standby. Usually Leap AI gives me something close enough to what I want. If not, I switch to Ideogram, which gives me 5 variations for the prompt. And I do tweak some images around in Canva too. Okay, so she's finding a tool that takes the simplest prompt possible. If she can't find that, she uses one that does a better version with that prompt. And then if that's not ideal, then she tweaks some of the images in Canva too. I don't know why you'd be putting them, I mean, you can put them in Canva, but it's not like the AI is actually spitting out like a layered art image. You know how, like, for anyone who's designed anything, you normally do it in layers, so that if you don't like, you know, the person, you remove that layer. If you don't like an object in the background, you remove that layer and put something else in. But these have become, I mean, I could be wrong, but these are probably coming out as static flat images. Let me know in the chat if I'm wrong. And therefore, when you put them into something like Canva, you might be able to scrub something out in the background with a magic tool, but like, I can't imagine being able to do a lot of editing at that point. I'd almost get the AI to try and fix that for me, to be honest. Why go into prompt writing cold when you can just have bots tell you how to talk to bots? I mean, honestly, I would just let the bots talk to the bots. Surely you could set this up. I mean, that's what I was saying at the beginning. Chuck it in like, I don't know, Cloudflare Worker or something. There's probably something you can chuck that in where you could just have your bots talking to each other in like 2 functions. Like, I'm going to write a prompt. Here, spit out an image. Okay, cool. Here's another prompt. And then you just go home and like cash your check. Oh, if any Gen Z people are here, a check is like a piece of paper that you use to move money around. Some countries might still use them, I don't know. But, you know, just in case you haven't seen what that is, we don't Yeah, cool. Try multiple AI platforms. Number 5. All right. I fell into the trap of thinking AI image generators don't work for me because of a few early experiences with one tool. I thought the tool was Travis Irby. Commas and full stops, people. They're pretty important. A few early experiences with one tool, Travis Irby. So guys, don't use Travis Irby is what I'm saying. Founder of Gosh. I just said Wet Paint AI. I mean, that's still a good name for an AI tool, let's be honest. But like, this is We Paint AI. Said each model works a little differently. Okay. Go beyond ChatGPT's image generation, explore different models on platforms like replicate.com. Okay, so you can try other models. Each model has strengths. For example, Flux Context Pro is great at image editing. Recraft V3 SVG creates vector images, and Clarity Upscaler can increase the size of your image. There are hundreds of models to experiment with. Now, first of all, I was wrong. This isn't Hugging Face, the AI model platform. So my guess at the start was wrong. I admit that. Too bad. I'm sorry. So replicate.com, so you can go on there and try lots of models. That's actually really smart because different models just can be so vastly different. And depending on what they're trained on, like if you're trying to make, say, an anime image, for instance, I don't mind a bit of anime. If you're trying to make an image in an anime style and you're doing it on like Mid-Journey or I don't know, some tool that exists and it's not quite right. But if you go find a model that was specifically trained only on anime and lots of anime, it's going to spit, by default, it's probably going to spit out a much better version of what you're looking for than just using the big tools that you're aware of. So I'd actually suggest going in here and checking out some of these models because you might find some of them are just amazing for what you need. You might find some of them are terrible for what you need, but you might find some are really amazing. I mean, like if you need a model that can draw realistic pictures of cats jumping at birds, you need, one sec, well, I can't see this because I'm old. You need Prunai.com. I know you want one image. You need one image. This one's by ByteDance. They own TikTok. Let's seed edit. Ah, there you go. So they own TikTok and CapCut for anyone out there. That's ByteDance. All right, the sheer variety and specificity of the models are almost overwhelming. Want to make skin look more realistic? How about adding contextualized background sounds to a video? There are AI models for that. There's a model for that. When you click on one of the models, it provides an example of something it has created along with the prompts that made it happen. You have to sign in through GitHub and add payment method to create or edit something yourself. Okay, so if you don't have a GitHub account, you'll need to get one of those. If you're not doing anything with code, you may not have one, but you can sign up for one for free and just not put anything in there. So you can totally go and get a GitHub account. It's a place where you would normally, it's called a code repository. It's where you would store like computer code if you're working on something. So it's almost like the cloud. You can store that in and roll it back if you need it. But even if you're not doing that, you can go and get a GitHub account. That's no drama at all. I'm not sure how wide the price range is across all the AI models, but the ones I looked at were fractions of a penny for each to run. Yeah, most AI models are pretty cheap to run if you're not pushing out heaps and heaps of images all the time. Where's the chat going? Cool. All right. For anyone who might be over on Twitch tonight too, just so we're on YouTube and Twitch tonight for the first time, and so far all it said on Twitch is that it's unstable. So if anybody is, I can see there's someone over on Twitch. If someone's over on Twitch, you could let me know, is it really unstable? Because on my end it looks totally fine. So anyway, welcome to Twitch. Welcome to the Minimum Vibe Pizza live chat. All right, back to this killer article. I think we've got 2 categories to go. We're not going to do the last one. It's telling us to build gems in Gemini Pro. We're not going to bother with that. Use AI to explore ideas. I've used AI copy generators more than their visual counterparts. It's true because copies, everyone's been doing the copy thing. Jacqueline, graphic blah, 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 blah. So much of creating design work is spending a large amount of time concepting and troubleshooting a large number of ideas to whittle down to the best one. In AI's current state, that's where I'm finding it helpful. Exploring a bunch of ideas very quickly to set you on the right path. That's where I find it really helpful as well. Gave a recent example where she was tasked with the layout to graphic illustrate omni-channel marketing pathways. I gave Microsoft Copilot a go, and to be honest, it did a poor job, but absolutely set me on a great trajectory to creating a piece that was cohesive and something I'm proud to include in our marketing collateral. That is a long sentence. She said, sometimes it's helpful to see what not to do to get you on the right track. AI's not great version on the left. Help motivate Jacqueline's vision on the right. Okay, so she wanted this back and forth example of how omni-channel marketing works. And, you know, anyone who's on this stream, you're probably potentially around omni-channel marketing, being a bit of a MarTech marketing stream that we kick on with here. But it gave her this. I mean, in all honesty, this on the left here, this is honestly more what marketing looks like. You're like, it's going to be like this. People are going to be like, oh, I'm just going to, you know, send stuff out, and they're just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to click on that, I'm going to open your email, oh, and then I'm going to search. It's going to be the seamless journey. Instead, you send it out, nothing happens, then later on someone clicks on it, oh, then you're on your Instagram page, oh, hold on, they've bought something. Where did they buy something from? I have absolutely no idea. That's the gap here. That's literally how marketing works. So I'm going to say that AI did a better job here than it did over here. All right. So I just paused for a second there. I just noticed Streamer Bot has checked my Ko-fi page. The Ko-fi streamer page has checked my Ko-fi page in there. Feel free to go there and buy me a coffee if you're loving what's happening over here. All right. You don't have to, by the way. I'm not worried at all. I'm doing just fine. The biggest tip for any designer looking to use AI is to set clear expectations for what you want out of the tool. It is still much more of the responsibility of the designer to execute and deliver a final piece that lives up to professional expectations. At this point, I totally agree. For graphic designers especially, AI is more of a sparring partner than a replacement for their creativity. So this is someone from a graphics and design background who's saying that it's more something you communicate with to get ideas rather than something that's going to, you know, replace the work you do. And I actually think that's a good approach because, I mean, people in the creative field, like we can't replace the emotion and the human brain and everything else that goes with that. And I've said it before in this stream, and I'm going to stand by it. We probably never will. So there will always be humans in the loop somewhere as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, if you enjoyed this article and you're going to go check out more of it, I have another read. I can't use these let's grab these sidebar thingies. Why can I not grab that? There it is. 7 ways to get better results from AI image generators by Rob Glover. Check him out. He's on the WordStream blob. He's on the WordStream blog. There's Rob. Good man. I don't know him, but he's a senior copywriter, so go check out his work. Anyway, bye Rob. Catch you later. All right. So, yeah, I mean, that was an interesting article all up. I learned a bit about using other tools and getting AI to talk to AI to get images out. And I actually really like the idea of using the model. I've completely forgotten the name already. Using the model tool to test out lots of different models that are available on there. We're going to go back to Rob's articles and see if we can find out better ways to get results. I'm just going to find that again so you guys... that was in number 5, I think. Come on, try multiple platforms. Go back here. Replicate.com is what we're looking for. If we don't want small. Replicate.com. So if you want to try out other models, you have a GitHub account. Replicate.com is apparently the place to do that. So it will look like this. It said you needed a GitHub account to log into here, but you can just go to GitHub if you have any trouble to do that. There may be code involved. I'm not sure. But anyway, you can go to replicate.com to test things out if you want to look at different models. All right. On with the show. Good evening to anyone who's joined us, or good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are who's joined us. We're on YouTube and Twitch tonight. We're in 2 places at once. Bringing MarTech and marketing to the world. I do a lot of stuff here around Braze. Braze is kind of my tool of choice. And currently we're in the process of trying to build a text adventure inside Braze. So if you missed the stream last week, I stream here 9:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time at the moment on a Wednesday. But you can always watch the replay, especially on YouTube. You can rerun the replay and watch whatever you want. That'd be the best place to watch it on YouTube. But started to build a text adventure inside Braze because wanted to just build something a bit different and interesting that people could do with Braze without needing, what's the term I'm looking for? Anything too complex. Because, I mean, you get Braze out of the box, you can pretty much send emails straight away and you can do some cool stuff with it. So let's gamify email and build a text adventure. I don't know about you guys, I love text adventures from the 90s. Anybody else like text adventures? There's some really cool ones. There's actually one now, there's the dungeon one, I can't remember the name of it, where it's actually using AI and it's constantly just rolling through this dungeon. It's almost endless. Dark room. Just going to pull this over for anyone who may not have seen this. I don't know if anyone's ever played this game, but apparently there's a mobile version of this game now, but personally I would go with this one. Just get on the web, right? We'll do that. Get rid of my toolbars. Don't worry about that. Ears flooded with new sensations. Disable audio. All right. So this is a dark... If you just look up a dark room... If you just look up a dark room, it's darkroom.doublespeakgames.com, but just look up a dark room on Google, you'll find this. And what this is sort of like a new version text adventure, but it's what they call an idle game where, you know, you do something like light a fire and then it sits there with a little timer. It's doing this in the background. And you can go away and get on with your day and do other stuff. And you can come back and it can just be running in the background. So if you're looking for a cool sort of modern-y text adventure game that you can do, look up a dark room. It's actually really cool. I've played that all the way through to the end. It takes a little while because it's kind of running in the background doing its thing, but it's a cool little game to play over a few days in the background of whatever tasks you're doing. But if you're a flow state person, it's, you know, I actually don't mind a bit of flow state. It's probably not the ideal game for you in those scenarios, but you know, I'd love to know if you are a flow state person. I don't mind a bit of flow state. All right, so what we're doing, we're building a Braze text adventure, and so far what we've got, so everyone can see that. Let's get my screen back up. All right, so everyone can see that. What we've got here so far, we've got people coming in the top here. It's sending them an email. It's sending an email message saying that it's like you're in an abandoned marketing zombie game. I need to fix the look and feel of this up. Just ignore that for now. It's telling you wake up, there's fluorescent lights, there's a bit of a story here, and then you can pick one of these options. So search your desk for anything useful, sneak towards a break room, say hello to the office void, and clicking on one of these options. There's my done button. Down the bottom right, there we go. Took a little while to pop up. And what's happening here is, depending on these options, you're going to what's called an action path. And an action path, they sit it here, and it's looking for what button you click in that first email based on what's called an email alias. I probably should have shown you that. And depending on which alias is clicked, it will send you down one of these action paths to give you the next part of the journey. So this is how we're sending this out. Just doing a recap for anyone, especially those who joined on Twitch tonight. And when I talk about aliases, so we have 4 buttons here. If you go up to link management in the top left, each one of those you can name whatever you want, and it gives them an alias, so a specific bit of code on the end here. And all these little codes are different. This is the link alias, and I've sent this to my developer homepage. You know, it just says thank you for your response. I just sent it there, so because you got to send them to a link somewhere. But then it will add this extra bit of code on the end, and this is the alias, and this is what it's looking for. So when you go on that action path, it's checking which alias is clicked, and then it'll know which journey to send them down. Now, what I was thinking though is that if I keep doing this is what I was thinking tonight. If I keep doing this repeatedly, what I'm going to have is this, and then I'm going to have a bunch of these off here, and then I could get to a point where I just have too many action paths, maybe this step. I'm not really sure. So this is something I probably have to look at over the next little while as we keep working on this. But I was wondering whether maybe what I could do, if anyone hasn't used them, you can build what's called a catalog, a Braze catalog. And in the catalog, you can store pretty much any information you want. You can store like maybe from our email here. What we would do is we would store the title as a section in our catalog. Really gonna get my zoom right, don't I? One day. We can store the title as a section. We can store this text as a section in the catalog. And maybe you could even store each of the 4 button options in their own section of the catalog. So instead of having 4 versions of the email, I have one email, and depending on what alias or what button is clicked, it actually renders out of that catalog the next email for that person. So just to put that in context, done. So coming down through here, depending on which action path you go, and you wouldn't have 4 of these, you would have 1, and it would go, aha, that alias is clicked. And I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if I can use the email alias. I probably could, because it picks up event when you go through an action path. It uses what's called I'm pretty sure the next step can have what's called an event property. Depending on what action happened here, you can actually use that. We might need to test that. We might need to put it like even a 5th arm off here and just actually test whether that's even possible. So that's kind of one of my theories. So first thing we might do tonight, we might actually set up a bit of a mock catalog, just so we can test some of that out. So you can upload these with CSVs, you can send these in through APIs, you can do all sorts of things. I think we're just going to slap ours in manually because we don't have a lot to deal with at the moment. I'm going to open that up in a new tab. All right, so get ourselves a catalog, and I might even put that up here, and then we can work 2 at once. Hey, just close the sidebar. Nope. What's that? Aha. There we go. All right. So we've got catalogs, global settings for back in stock archive. Cool. We don't need that. All right. So you can go up here. You can do create new catalog. You can do upload CSV, or you can create in a browser. And I'm pretty sure you can also do this through the API. The API. You can do this through the API, and you can send this data straight in. But we're going to do create in browser. We're going to call this. What are we going to call this? Marketing text adventure. All right. Won't worry about putting anything in there. Can you guys see that? I'll just zoom that in so you can see that a bit better. Create catalog. All right, name your catalog. I was going to say, didn't I just do that? All right, just disappeared without me. All right. And then you come here, we're in our marketing text adventure catalog. We won't worry too much about these settings at the moment. Notify all subscribed users. Yeah, we don't worry about that. What? Oh yeah, we don't need to set anything for notifications. I just haven't seen that before. Took me by surprise. All right, and in here we can do update catalog. We can add fields, and so we might have title for the heading for the email, and what type do we want to be? It'd be a string because it's text, so it will be. Actually, we're going to go over. It will be this one up here. I'm going to edit this message. Alright, so we need a title. We'll call this body, maybe body copy. And then we need buttons. Come back over here. So we've got our title, which is a string, and then we can do another one. We can do maybe we'll do body. It's a string. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll do button 1. Probably a good way to do that, is it? And we can do button 2. Copy them. Button 2. Might actually go down to 3 buttons. I feel like 4 is going to get too complicated. We'll do 3 for now. And if we're happy with all that, you can't see down the bottom corner, but there is actually a little. Actually, I might be able to move this out of the way for you. Pull that out of the way. Yep. And you see down here, there is a little add fields button. So we're going to add these fields. Picture back over there. All right. Now that we've got that, what we're going to do is we're going to put each of these bits of text. So I take this one, I'm going to copy this, and then I come over here, and it's going to go under. Oh, everything needs an ID as well, doesn't it? Everything needs to have a specific ID number in here as well for that row, that particular row. So since this will be the first email, the ID might be say 00, and then we have a title, body, button. But then the other IDs we might have to have, like 011, 012, so we know it's all email 1, version 2, version 3, because we're doing this text adventure style. So I do update catalog. I can do this manually. I do add an item because we've added fields. We add an item. ID. I guess I'll just do 000 for now. But the ID can be anything. It's as long as it's a system that you can personally understand and follow, and it's easy to think of. When you do this in businesses, the catalogs are often full of products, and the product ID is often the SKU of that product. Is often the easiest way to look it up, where you have an individual number that lines up with everything else in your system. So if you know the SKU in your system, you know the SKU in the catalog, and it all line up, which is probably a great way to do it. I don't know who Rightful Color Suz. Cheap viewers on stream. I think we're getting a little bit of a. All right, there we go. Hopefully that's gone from your chat as well, guys. Didn't realize I was getting a bit of spam in the old chat there. All right, so title. So that is what we put in as the title, because that's what we had there. We'll come over and we'll do the body copy. Put that in there. Should be able to copy this. Search the desk for anything useful. Sneak out of the break room. Survivors, and yell into the office void. So I got those three in there. All right, now we save that item. Now this would be much easier from CSV. You could write the whole thing out at the beginning and put it all in there. All right, so you can see these are all stored in here now, and they're stored under this ID. So basically, when I'm building this catalog out, I just need to look for this ID, and then I can access all of these items in here to build out this this email. So we go back to our catalog tab back up here. Go back into here. All right. Now, so what we can do in here, we want. Oh, this is going to get me. Is it catalog items? What do we call it? Marketing text adventure marketing. So first you write text adventure. So first you put you write catalog items. I'm pretty sure I've got that one right. We're going to find out in just a sec. Then you put in the name of the catalog. And then you can have up to 3 items in that catalog that it can select from. So in our case, we want 000. So we want this first row, which is 000. So you can put 000,001, for instance, and select a few things at once if you want them in there. And then I'm going to put percentage. And then if I put items items 0. So let me see if I can explain this easily for you. So say you had 3 things in here, and you pulled all 3 in here. So you might have 000, 001, and 002 as the 3 items that you want to pull in. Now what happens is they actually get pulled in as an array. Now an array is actually, I don't know what the best way to explain that is. Array is actually a group of items that all come in together into a system. So it's normally between square brackets. So when the computer sees this, the computer actually sees this as 000, comma 001, comma 002. It actually sees it like that in the square brackets, and it knows which each of these are, not by the code, but it knows this first item is in place 0. So computers always count from 0. So this is in place 0, this is in place 1, this is in place 2, and you could have an endless list of things that be place 3, 4, 5, whatever, onwards. It would just keep going. Now, because we want to access this first item, which if we had 3 of them is in place 0, we write items, square brackets, which basically represents this array here with the square bracket, item 0. We want to access the first item in this array of numbers. If we wanted to access the second item, which is in place 1, we would put a 1 here. If we wanted to access third item, we could do items 3. So essentially you could have items 0, you could have items 2, oh sorry, that should be 2, my apologies. Items 2, item 0, you can write them however you want, but the order you write them in here matters because that's the order it puts them in the array. So if I had 002 first and 000 here, 002 is now at place 0. So hopefully that's making sense to people who don't work with arrays a lot, but that's how that works. So in my case, get rid of these. So in my case, I want to access, so I put double curly braces because I want to render something to the screen. Items, so items out of this catalog, you always put items. I put 0 because I want the first item out of these potential 3 options up here. And then I need to put in what I want to access out of this catalog. So in this case, I want the title. So then I put dot to say I want something from that, and I put title. So I want some catalog items. I want to access the marketing text adventure catalog that we created. I want the first item, or this. I want this item 000, which becomes the first item in the array, and computers count from 0, so it becomes 0. And then I want title. Now, if I hit preview, assuming I got this right, a bit 50-50 on catalog items, but we'll see. Look at that. So it's pulled this in now as the first thing in there. And just to show you that's working, if I go in here and I say I want to look at this, right? We've got this title here. I can do edit. I'll just write let's do something. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. Okay, so I'll just completely remove what I had in there. I've just realized I've deleted it without, it's probably in the other thing. And we've updated that in the catalog. You can see over here now, that's updated in the catalog, is our title. Now, if I go back over here and I'll go back to edit again, you can see this is all the same. We're accessing the catalog, we're accessing the title. And I go back in here. We're live on YouTube and Twitch. And this, my friends, is what makes catalogs so cool. Is basically you can access any item in this catalog. And so I could have one email, but for each version of the email, I can access a different catalog item. And now I have 3 completely different emails just by accessing different catalog items. Now, since we're on catalogs, we're having a bit of fun with that. I should actually show you a bit more about how that works, because I noticed some people don't use catalogs probably as much as they should be. Like, actually, catalogs are really cool tools. So we're going to work with this catalog item since we're doing this with our text adventure. For anyone who's joined us over on Twitch, hello, by the way. I can see there's a few more people over there. I hope the stream is nice and clear for you guys as well. All right. All right. So did anyone see my stream over on YouTube? I'm a bit worried my stream isn't actually showing on YouTube. So if anybody's watching on YouTube, can you please let me know? Because it appears to be showing starting soon on my end. Anyway, we'll keep going with catalog items. All right, so we've got item 000, right? We're using item 0, the first item in the array. So let's go over to our catalog. Can we duplicate this somehow? No, we can't duplicate it. No, we'll save it. All right, we'll make a new one. We'll update the catalog. We'll add an item. You can see the stream. Thanks, Jackals. I appreciate it. Welcome, by the way. We're going to add an ID 001. We're going to put this title. This is title 001. This is body 001. We'll do button 1001, button 2002, and button 3001. All right, just to show you how this works. Hello. All right, so put that in there. Go back over here. So I was talking before about how these go into an array. So zooming that back in. So our first item is 000. So we can put 001 here. So now we want catalog item. We want to access that catalog. We want to access the marketing adventure catalog. And we can have up to 3 items we can access at one time. There is some tricks to work around this, but let's just stick with 3 since we're starting out. So we're going to access 000, which is the first item, and 001. As I said, these will go into an array. So they'll actually look like this to the computer. So 000 is the item 0 in that array, and 001 is item 1. So we're accessing 0 at the moment. So as we remember from before, we go back in there. We're getting we are live on YouTube and Twitch because that was the heading for that one. If I go in here now and I change this to 1, it should be titled. Whoop. should be title 001. So go back in here and we review that now. See, simple as that. Change the title literally by changing the number in this box. That's the only thing I did. And what's cool about this is you can write these in quite a few places, and all you have to do is go update all the zeros to ones or the ones to two, and you can change all your copy. But what you can do is you can actually access both of them. So it doesn't. So I can go in here. I put this one. I can put items 0 title, items 1 title, because we've got two things in here. Go back in. Now we should see both titles appearing in here because we can see we're live on YouTube and Twitch. First title. This is title 1. Now let's build out the rest of this email just to make sure this all works. So we'll access both of these for now. So we don't need this copy in here anymore because we're already accessing this catalog. So now all this copy, bye. All right, so we're gonna put curly braces because we want to render something to the screen. Once again, we're already in the catalog, so we don't need to write which catalog we start in. This just needs to be at the top somewhere. You can put it in whatever size font you want in the drag and drop. It works in HTML, by the way, as well. Items, we want the first item 0, and I think we called that body. So now look at that. We have this. We have this single line here. This single tiny line replaced all that body copy text. And yet when I preview it, fingers crossed, because, you know, technology, all that. I mean, do I have to say any more? Like, look at that. We got all that text pulled straight out of that catalog. And as I mentioned, you can update these catalogs from CSVs, APIs, whatever you want. So you can just have this catalog constantly updating. You wouldn't need to touch this email anymore. And as long as the right item number was attached to the right part of your catalog, every email that had that item in it would just update as simple as that. All right, so I'm just going to copy this. We'll zoom in just so you can see that a bit better. We're going to do our first button. I think we called that button 1, didn't we? I mean, anybody who's watching, like, it's probably pretty apparent by now that I have a terrible memory. We'll go with button 2. We'll go with button 3. I think I might have to leave this one because I have it on the action path. So I'm just going to leave that so I don't break anything. But basically, we should see all the text for these buttons now. And this will be our entire email, just ripped from a catalog. I love catalogs so much. It's probably pretty obvious. I can't believe I wasn't using it sooner in this, but this is going to be awesome. Come on. Look at that. Email. Exactly as it was before. We have the heading. We have the text. We have what's written in the buttons. But the actual email looks like this. So now basically what it becomes is this kind of, it almost becomes a template that you can use from catalogs. So to use our example from before, if I go in here now and put item 1, so I'm going to pull from the first item in the catalog, and then I preview that, this entire thing should now just update into version 1. See? Title 1. Oh. I've made a boo-boo. Let's just go back in there and fix that up, shall we? I need to just change all of these to 1. Item 1, item 1, item 1, and item 1. All right, now if we go back in there now, it won't look so foolish. So let's have a look. There we go. This is title 1, this is body 1, button 1, 001, 001, 001. It worked straight away, just like that. And that's why these catalogs are so cool. So you build out your catalog, you put it all in there, it's gonna look amazing. So with that in mind, we can sort of start getting on with the rest of this. Oh, it's nearly 10. It's nearly my knockoff time, sadly, here. So what I'm gonna, because I can only do a shorter stream tonight. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put these back, because now we have this cool template. You guys have learned a bit about catalogs and how cool catalogs are. And I expect that you guys are going to be using catalogs in Braze by the end of next week if you haven't started already. Just put this one back to 0. Put this one back to 0. I better also get the text. I deleted all the text before, didn't I? Actually, it might be in here. Is it in our original chat GPT? Opening paragraph. Yeah, there it is. There's our heading. We'll go back to our catalog. We're going to go to this first item. You click on the little eye on the side here to update, by the way. I always thought that little eye was to like make it disappear, because I normally see the eye as like something to hide stuff. So, but it's actually to, you go in there and do edit the item. I'm going to put all this text back in. I'm going to hit save. I'm just going to put it back the way it was. So when we jump back on next week and we can continue this off with the catalogs, this one will be mint. All right, so everything's there. Got a catalog item, marketing text adventures, blah, blah, blah. Go back in. This should look normal again before we tap out. There we go. Text back, description's back. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I don't know if you guys find that amazing. I think that's amazing. So, sorry about the shorter stream today, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop off. I'll be back here next Wednesday, 9:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, or you can always watch on the replay, find out a bit more about this. And now that we're using these catalogs, we can all jump on next week and we can start putting stuff in these catalogs and try and narrow this whole crazy email journey down that I started building with Action Paths, and see whether we can build this with catalogs. And then the other thing I want to do is also get into some custom attributes in the future and look at putting in a health system and a fighting system for this. So we're going through these action paths, and I have 4 emails coming out here. I really want to see if I can somehow get these down to sort of this single email. It's just driven by these action paths and these catalogs. Because that's a great use case for everyone. Even though this is a text adventure, so far we've learned about action paths, we've learned about email aliases, we're learning about catalogs, we're going to learn about custom attributes. Just we could put out a course by the end of this. We could all be rich. Yeah, well, honestly, I just like doing this stuff for free. It's good fun. Anyway, for everyone that's online, I can see there's quite a few watching the YouTube channel again. Thank you for checking in. I really appreciate it. Hello to Jackals, hello to Poppy, hello to anyone who hasn't said hello in the chat yet. Jump in now if you want to. I can see there's people on Twitch tonight, which is amazing. Thank you for whoever's joined over on Twitch. It's our first time on Twitch, so we really appreciate that. And I wish you all a good week until I see you again next week here on the Minimum Viable Pizza live stream. I have to get this a cool title, but peace out, everybody. It's been a pleasure, as always. We'll talk to you next week.